I first met my partner 15 years ago while working at a restaurant together. She was a hostess, and I was a server. She had recently moved from Connecticut to the Bay Area in California. Since everyone in our friend group worked at the restaurant, we naturally became friends. Now let me take a moment to be honest about myself. I'm far from perfect and have made plenty of mistakes in my life, including within this relationship. However, I still believe that deep down, I'm a genuinely good person. Now let's get back to the story at hand. At some point, while we were just friends and colleagues, my mother, who had been diagnosed with a terrible disease, passed away. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that I'd been struggling with the fact that my mother was passing throughout that time, even though I tried to hide it with a smile. To cope with the pain, I found solace in closeness. I did it with numerous women, as it was never difficult for me given that I'm considered an attractive man, but that's a story for another time and place. After that, I started losing myself mentally. Honestly, I felt like life wasn't worth living anymore. You see, my mother had left me when I was just 3 years old, and I was raised by my offensive alcoholic father and stepmother. It was a challenging upbringing, to say the least. Yeah. My mom actually came back into my life a few years later. However, when I lost her again, something inside me broke. I knew it was permanent this time. I mentioned this so that people reading can understand the state of my mind at that time. I completely lost myself in pursuing relationships with women to numb the pain of losing my mother. It was during this period that I met the mother of my children. Not the cheating girlfriend, by the way. We became engaged, and things were great until it all fell apart due to the lies I had told her about myself. To win her over. I only bring up the baby mama to provide some context. It's important to note that I wasn't perfect, and this is where my cheating girlfriend comes into the picture. This is when things took a turn in our friendship. I hit rock bottom during this period, and it wasn't just because of my depression. It was also due to unstable living situations and a phony friend I met through work, who later became the girlfriend I caught cheating. Found myself moving from one place to another, renting rooms, but none of them provided a stable environment. It wasn't because I couldn't afford it, but because of the constant drama caused by the people I was renting from. The last straw was when that fake friend pulled a knife on me over phone bill. Interestingly enough, this same ex-friend was the one who initially tried to set me up with my cheating girlfriend. I resisted the idea for a long time, having multiple reasons for not wanting to pursue a relationship with her. It wasn't just that I was determined to repair my relationship with the mother of my children, but I also wasn't physically attracted to my cheating girlfriend. I don't mean to sound shallow, but if someone saw us together, they would question why I'm with her. They might think I'm settling and could do better. I'm specifically referring to physical appearance here. Now, as a friend, she was actually one of my closest friends at that time. She was there for me and helped me through the pain of losing my mom, which still hurts even after over a decade and after the incident with my fake friend and ex-roommate. Yay, forgot to mention that. She offered me a place to stay because otherwise, I would have been sleeping in my car until I found a new place over the next couple of years. I tried and failed to mend the relationship with the mother of my children. I have one biological child and one who isn't biologically mine. Despite that, I consider myself a good guy because I stepped up and continued to take care of her eldest child as if they were my own. I'm not claiming to be a perfect angel, but I genuinely strive to be a good person. However, things took a different turn when I allowed myself to start having a physical relationship with my friend, knowing that she wanted more from me than I did from her. From the beginning, I warned her that dating would be a bad idea and could ruin our friendship. Eventually, we ended up in a relationship together. I'm not sure if it's because I had lost hope in my own life and settled for whatever was given to me. Maybe it's because I thought I could finally find true love if I didn't focus on appearance. In hindsight, I know I shouldn't have slept with her, but I can't change the past. I have to admit that I was dealing with my own personal struggles. Now before I go any further, let me explain when things started to go downhill. Even before we officially became a couple, when we were just friends and I was staying at her place after the incident with my friend and the knife, she was secretly involved with a married coworker from her second job. Meanwhile, I was still trying to work things out with the mother of my children. Eventually, things became close between me and my friend who I'm currently living with. I made it clear to her that if she wanted to take our relationship seriously, like she claimed when she said things like I'm staying in CA to see where things go between us, she had to end things with the other guy, we'll call the a-hole. Later on, she became pregnant claiming it was the a-hole's child. However, I have a suspicion that it could have been mine. Nonetheless, she decided to have a termination. On the day of the termination, the a-hole and her female best friend came back to the apartment. For some reason, her best friend came into our room to keep me company and cuddle spoon while the cheating girlfriend, not yet my girlfriend, let me clarify, was in the living room, crying and seeking comfort from him on the couch. This made me really angry because I'd been clear about my feelings towards the a-hole. So I took her friend home, and we hooked up and had closeness for about 3-4 hours before I left to go to smoke with my best friend at his place. Several months later, after the cheating ex-girlfriend and I moved into a new studio apartment together, because she had problems with our previous roommate. Living in the Bay Area is expensive. I came back early from work. The restaurant where both my best friend and I were working had a slow night. I was dropped off. And when I reached the door, which I didn't have a key to yet, I started knocking. After receiving no response, I heard noises from inside and quickly realized that she was being close with someone. I started pounding on the door for at least 25 minutes. Eventually, it opened. And to my surprise, it was the married a-hole standing right in front of me. I guess neither of them heard me because the radio was on too, but I was furious. That's when I realized I could never truly trust this woman. As time went on, she tried to convince me that it was over between her and him, but I never believed her simply because every time I asked her to end her friendship with him, she would hit me with the line, "You can't choose my friends for me." That was a major red flag for me. In my opinion, men and women can't simply be friends, especially if they have a physical relationship. Maybe it can work in a long-distance scenario, but not when they have face-to-face contact. It just doesn't work because men are usually attracted to women and women are usually interested in starting a family with men. As time goes by, I find myself changing jobs multiple times. I need something more stable because I have 2 young children that I'm still taking care of along with my ex-fiancé. Even though she's getting married soon to someone else at this point, my cheating girlfriend helps me secure a job at the same place she works, which happens to be a well-off private school. Yes, the a-hole also works there, but initially, we're all on separate campuses. So it's not a big deal to me. We eventually upgrade to a larger apartment with 2 bedrooms. I was tired of the long round trip on a Greyhound bus, spending 2 hours each way every Tuesday just to see my kids for a short time. So not only did we get a bigger place, but I also bought a somewhat new car, a 20-year-old Mustang with only 36,000 miles on it. That point, things seemed to be going well considering all we had been through. Yes, she had been disloyal to me multiple times, but I wasn't perfect either. I thought things were improving, or at least I hope so, but then towards the end of my first year at the new job, they transferred me to the lower school campus. And guess who my immediate supervisor turned out to be? That's right. The a-hole. Great. Gotta love the irony. Right from the beginning, he offered me the opportunity to work and manage the snack bar program on campus. This meant I would be working for 8 hours instead of 6, which I accepted because I had children to support and bills to pay. Little did I know that he had his own agenda for giving me those extra hours, so he wouldn't have to work them himself. But I didn't see it as a problem at the time because he hadn't caused any issues in years. Besides, he wasn't even allowed in my house, and we had a female roommate for a while, so I got used to having someone else around. Eventually, when the roommate who also worked with us quit, I asked her to leave because it was time for my children to have the room that was meant for them. To make a long story short, my cheating girlfriend never trusted me and always snooped through my phone and my Space account back in the day if I forgot to log out on my computer. Somehow, she even knew my password. She found messages from other girls which were inappropriate on their end. Even though I hadn't sent anything inappropriate myself, these girls were sending me explicit photos and expressing unsolicited desires. I have no idea why I allowed myself to keep those messages on my phone or in my inbox. Maybe it was my ego, but she found out about them and was furious. During a heated moment, she warned me that if it happened again, I would regret it. There were other warning signs too. She talked about breaking up with me and even asked me to move out of our apartment, even though both our names were on the lease. I refused because I didn't want to be homeless again. I didn't want to go back to sleeping in my car. For a while, things seemed to improve because she started acting normal again, but I was so wrong. One day, my neighbor asked if we had a new roommate. We didn't. He described a guy who had been coming over and I immediately suspected it was our mutual friend. Unfortunately, I missed that red flag. A few weeks later, one night, she went out with a female coworker of ours. Later that night, as I took our puppy out for a walk, I noticed a suspicious SUV parked in the middle of the street right in front of our apartment. As I crossed the street about 15, 20 feet in front of the vehicle, which had its lights on, I squinted to see who was inside because the car looked just like the Ahole's SUV. Despite it being late and dark, I tried to make out the figures inside. Now my eyesight isn't the best, but it seemed like they were kissing. Curious, and filled with anger, I crossed the street again slowly to get a better look. They clearly noticed me and could tell I was upset. As soon as I got inside the apartment, I grabbed my phone and called her, ready to confront her about what I saw. She answered the call, but she was angry that I was making a big deal out of it. She essentially gaslighted me, dismissing my concerns since I couldn't see for sure what I thought I saw with the headlights on. I couldn't fully argue against her, but I'm not dumb. I know exactly what I saw. As weeks went by, my friend, who shares a driveway with me, asked if I had a roommate and then installed cameras in his window facing my front door. He also positioned another camera to face the street using his neighbor's place. It wasn't a problem for him since he often helps the elderly man with various tasks. He explained that there had been instances of people trying to steal things from his backyard and he wanted to catch them in the act. I thought his reasons were legitimate because he owns and parks many expensive vehicles on the street and in the back area. Little did I know, he did it for my own benefit. He had been trying to communicate with me about something, but words weren't enough to convey the message. Well, a few weeks later, when my friend had reached his limit with her making a fool out of me, he came to me with the evidence while we were smoking in his carport. He said, "I usually don't like to meddle in other people's business, but since we're friends and spend so much time together here, I couldn't just stand by and not show you this." It turns out that almost every other Friday and even on some work days when I have my kids on the weekends there with me, when I'm not at home visiting my brother or my best friend who lives an hour away, my boss has been coming over while I'm still at work. He leaves before I finish my shift since he's the one who writes my schedule. And if I happen to leave again, he comes back. They spend hours together behind closed doors, walking my dog together, and even bringing alcohol into my house, even though I hate alcohol and drinking with her. I'm furious beyond words now. He sends me copies of the videos via email, and I immediately confront her about it. She tries to come up with a lie, saying he's coming over to discuss work-related training since she's being promoted to management. Yes, that may be true, but it still doesn't explain why he's inside my house behind closed doors. I show her the video footage briefly, knowing she's caught, and she starts changing her story. She admits that she messed up, but she claims that what she did wasn't as bad as what I did. I respond by saying that I didn't get physically involved with anyone. That they were the ones reaching out to me, not the other way around. I emphasized that I didn't get caught doing anything inappropriate and that I wasn't cheating. She tries to argue that she didn't cheat either, that he was just there for her to talk to about our problems and offer support. Then I told her to look up the term emotional cheating on Google and read it out loud in front of me. She reluctantly did it. And immediately, she became less argumentative. I went to the room to gather some things because I couldn't stay there for a while and needed to go for a drive. She tried to follow me into the room, attempting to hug me and crying for forgiveness. She insisted that it wasn't what I thought, that she didn't cheat. But I told her that I knew she was lying. I pointed out that she had a long history of being caught with him before, so I could see through her lies. She stuck to this lie for 8 months until I decided to deceive her by telling her that the video had sound because my friend's camera was a spy camera that could pick up audio vibrations from the window. Immediately, she confessed. She admitted that it had actually happened twice, after originally claiming it was only once, but I knew that was another lie. I knew because my neighbor had informed me that he had been showing up for at least 7 months. Unfortunately, I'm still living with her because I don't have the financial means to move out and provide my children with their own room elsewhere. I have to pay child support to their mother and support both children while they're with me, as well as take care of myself. It's become clear to me that she's never going to change, and I've lost trust in women. She claims she has no contact with him outside of work emails now. But I know she's lying. I know because he texted her one night when she came home drunk. The text implied that they had been together because he knew she was drunk. He asked if she got home safely and mentioned how drunk he was. She also gave me her phone password in an attempt to win me back, so I went through her phone. I noticed his number was deleted, and there were no texts to him. However, when I checked her messages with her best friends, she spilled the beans. Just 7 months ago, she was planning to hang out with him. Most likely. Yeah. I don't deserve to go through this. I know I'm not perfect, but I deserve something better. Right now, I have no choice but to stay in this miserable apartment for the next 4 years, just to provide my children with a decent life when they're with me. I refuse to go back to renting a room and spending hours traveling just to see them for a few hours a week. I deserve more than that. I won't go backwards. However, I won't forgive her either. So for now, I'll keep dating and sleeping with other women to find a bit of happiness for myself until I can finally leave this place. Unless another woman is willing to live with me, but I'm probably too damaged for that now. Well, that's my sad story. Thanks for listening. If you have any advice, feel free to share. Just remember, I'm stuck here for 4 years or until my name reaches the top of the waiting list for apartments owned by my job. Okay. This is the end of the story. So let's summarize. Wow. What a journey it's been. If there's one thing we can all take from this story, it's that trust is the foundation of any relationship. It's an integral part of the bond that holds two people together. And once it's broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. Firstly, to the original poster, I would like to commend you for your resilience and determination to keep going despite the difficult circumstances you face. Your honesty and openness in sharing your story is admirable, and it's clear that you've been on a very turbulent journey. It seems like the relationship you had with your girlfriend was rooted in mistrust and dishonesty from the start. From her clandestine relationship with her coworker, to her refusal to let go of her friendship with him, it's clear that she didn't respect your boundaries or your feelings. Your suspicions and the eventual evidence of her cheating were the final nails in the coffin, so to speak. It's important to note, however, that you both made mistakes. You were both at fault in some ways, and it's crucial to acknowledge that in order to grow and learn the fact that you were entertaining other women in your inbox and the lies you told to the mother of your children also eroded the trust in your relationships. The woman who cheated on you had some serious boundary issues and didn't respect your relationship. She was dishonest and violated your trust in many ways. Despite your suspicions and your requests for her to distance herself from the coworker, she refused to honor your feelings and continued with her inappropriate actions. Moving forward, It's crucial to remember that everyone deserves a partner who respects them and their feelings. Trust and respect are the cornerstones of any healthy relationship. If there's no trust, there's no foundation to build upon. The woman who cheated on you was not capable of offering you that respect and trust, and it's clear that a relationship with her wouldn't be beneficial or healthy for you in the long run. In the end, it's all about growth and learning from our experiences. No one is perfect, and we all make mistakes. But it's through these mistakes that we learn, grow, and become better versions of ourselves. I hope that moving forward, that you can find a partner who respects you, cherishes you, and most importantly is trustworthy. To everyone watching this video, remember, trust and respect are not optional in a relationship. They're a necessity. Choose your partners wisely and always respect yourself and your boundaries. Until next time, stay safe and stay kind. And that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this story and found it insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below with your thoughts on the story. I would love to hear what you have to say. And if you've been in a similar situation, feel free to share your experiences. Remember, your story could potentially help someone else who's going through the same thing.